I don't know if Roger Taylor still has an axe to grind with old men like he did back in the 80s, now that he is one, but I'm betting he probably does. Roger Taylor, My Country 1 and 2, next on PLD Project Presents Crown Jewels. Salutations, everybody. My name is PLD here on the PLD Projects Network, and this is Crown Jewels, the podcast where I'm taking you on a journey through every entire Queen song and solo song, song by song, track by track, version by version, as we try to determine what is the greatest or titular crown jewel version of every song. This week, My Country 1 and 2 from Roger Taylor's Fun and Space album. Really got it blowing through the Fun and Space album, don't you think? Now we got two versions to listen to. We do have the album version and the single version. That's right, this was released as a single in the UK. Unfortunately, it did not chart, but that's neither here nor there. Sometimes great songs don't chart. How are we going to do it though? We're going to listen to this and then we're going to decide which is the crown jewel. And we are also going to give you notes, quotes, and we're going to see if it slides into my top 10 Queen related tracks of all time. And how we listen to it is simple. I'm not going to get any copyright strikes. So what I do is in the show notes, I put a Google Doc. On that Google Doc will be links to YouTube versions of the songs and their versions. When I tell you to, I'm going to say pause me, go down, click on that link, find the version, listen to it, and come back, and I will talk about it. First off, written by Roger Taylor, features Roger on vocals, guitars, bass, drums, keyboards, and does have David Richards on additional keyboards. Never played live by Roger, and we also really don't know what the 1 and 2 means. Maybe you can tell me after you listen to it. So let's get right into it. I'm going to have you pause me, go listen to the album version of My Country 1 and 2. It's an epic track. And I'll come back and we'll talk about it. Welcome back, and there you have it. It is an epic track, nearly 7 minutes long. It does have that great setup. It's just washing its synths with that kind of something horrid voice going on. It sets up this long and journey that we're going to go on, right? This is why they had to cut it down for the single version, because this is not a single length song at all. The drums, and it comes in, and then they have this acoustic guitar kind of thing is taking over, which is this interesting, like, bouncy guitar. It's like this really kind of thing, but it doesn't feel like a political song. It feels like kind of almost like what's going to be a nice, happy love song. Got some nice vocals in the background there, washing through. And you get that first, like 2 minutes in, you get that first drum, like boom, boom, boom. You get the piano going, nice, this rhythmic sounding piano going on, boom, 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 boom. It sounds a little like the Mission Impossible theme when I'm humming it, but that's not what it sounds like at all, as you know. You've listened to it by now. I do love how the verses rise with Roger's voice getting stronger and stronger and stronger. We had that great drum break at 3 minutes and 30 seconds where it really gets into the big hammering drums and you get that tempo go doom, 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 and it kind of brings in there before it reverts back to that slower beat. And it goes back again into that. It kind of goes back and forth a couple times. Roger definitely taking his Queen practices and using them in his solo career here. It feels like a Queen type of song in terms of that it jumps all over the place, different tempos, different genres, almost different kind of things. And then it has this like big fade out as the Rogers backing vocals are stronger and stronger. Has this fade out, this drum out, and then just when you think it's over, it kind of comes back, and then they have this really harsh, epic like cut off, like boom, like it's like does a record scratch? Well, I don't know what's going on there, but it's kind of a fun thing. But really, the most important thing about this, more interesting thing about this song is the lyrics are very much different from Roger's stuff. Roger's been doing a lot of either it's a love song or else it's kind of like a rock and roll dance type song. It's loving my car, drowsing in pool halls. It's kind of that kind of thing. This is a really serious take on things. I mean, it's done in the kind of bouncy guitar at times, so it's almost like hiding it. But he's like says right out, I would not fight for my country. Would not work to no rule. Won't be some other jerk's tool. Don't have no part, no partisans, won't have no part because one party and the other is all the same. Very much starts this whole thing. It's a journey he's going to go on for the rest of his career where he always kind of calls out old men in power. And it's very timely. It's very timely even today at this point, honestly speaking. It's very much a protest song, which Roger gets as the resident Dylan fan in the group, as Roger has been known to be called the resident Dylan fan. It makes sense that he's the most probably outright political in his music. I mean, Freddie was not political. Freddie was very much a want to dance, escapism, love, that kind of thing. John kind of had that mostly Motown kind of like nothing really, again, kind of more straightforward kind of things. Brian's a rocker to his heart, but he tends to be until he gets to later, much later on in his career when he starts getting into like animal activism. Most of his songs are about just emotion and everything else. Again, it's not a bad thing. This is what the band does. Queen is not U2. U2 is a very political, like charged band. Queen has always been about like kind of enjoying yourself in the face of adversity. But Roger on his own would definitely tend to be a little bit more on the political side, and he tends to like U2 as well, so it makes sense. So. All right, that's it for the album version, the nearly 7 minute album version. He did cut it down to about 4 minutes or so for the single version. So why don't you go pause me, listen to that, come back, and we'll talk about how the edit works. I will say, as edit goes, this is a banger. This is a banger of an edit. It's a massive edit. It does take off almost half the song, but it actually captures all of the main beats, all the main parts to kind of really retain the feeling of the original track. There's not like anything that feels like it's overtly missing. A lot of times, cut verses or the rhymes will be off, or like it just seems like you're missing the point of the track. This feels like it just kind of cuts the fluff out. Or as some people might call it, instead of calling it fluff, they might call it like the bed, the laying the bed work. And right away, you get that washing synth is pretty much gone. There has a little quicker version of that before getting right into the first verse. A lot of the instrumental stuff is kind of excised. This is pretty much like get right to the point. Makes there's no fake fade out at the end. We actually ended at that point. So it's really kind of it's for radio and for what it's trying to do. It does capture the essence of the song, taking 3 minutes off. So that's where your miles may vary. This is why the crown and jewel section of this podcast is going to be very hard. So let's try to get right to it. Which is the better version? I don't know necessarily off the top of my head. Like my instinct is like it says it really is your miles may vary. I love the nearly 7 minute version because I love the background. I love how it leads up to things. I love how it like kind of just grows a little bit and kind of leaves you washing along and lets you kind of takes its time getting there. But at the same time, I also love the single edit because if I'm really not like more of a hurry, it's kind of okay. I know what the song is. I get right to it, get right to the bottom, right to the moment when almost I want to hear. Right. So I don't know. I think I understand either way. If you chose either way, I'd be like, I totally get it. But I got to make a decision, right? So it's between the single edit and the album version for me. I always tend to prefer. I'm a Queen fan. I'm a big Queen fan. So give me the 7 minute version with all the washing of the synths and the chord structures and everything else. To me, I do love the epic song more, especially for a Rogers song that doesn't usually do this kind of stuff, especially at the beginning. He's usually the quick, 3 minute rocker, kind of 3 minute dance rocker kind of thing. I want to give Roger props for what he did here, and I think I gotta choose the album version of My Country 1 and 2. So next up, we got to rate the song. I have to rate the song on a scale of 1 to 11 because we always turn things up to 11 here on PLD Projects. It's an honor of Spinal Tap, obviously, with a new movie coming out. I'm even more excited about that. So this is a tougher song to rate for me. It's not a typical Rogers song. I want to give him extra points for like starting to go outside the box a little bit. It's not a song I technically like will listen to on a repeat basis, but I don't want to judge it for that because it's not like I skip it for any real reason. I just don't seek it out. But it's a really solid song. When I do hear it, I'm always like, this is a really, really good song for a lot of different reasons. I can understand why somebody may call it disjointed. Because compared to like some of the Bohemian Rhapsody kind of goes into the different parts when it does it, kind of goes into this like flowing nature. Rogers' song here does kind of jarringly do it on occasion, but I think that's the point. It's parts of the point. I can't really give it like I can't dock it for that either. So I guess when it comes down to it, I'm gonna give this a solid 8. Solid 8 out of 11. I think it's a good. I'm gonna bump up 8.5. 8.5 out of 11. Great track. Not in my top 10 Queen related tracks of all time. It's gonna take a long time to get back into there because those are all 10 and a half or higher. Maybe I should run down those soon. Again, I haven't talked about them in a while, but so yeah, we'll go with 8.5. And that's going to do it here for us this week, folks, on Crown Jewels. My Country 1 and 2 is done. Stay tuned next week for Good Times Are Now. And if you like this, hit that subscribe, hit that like, 5 stars on the audio side of things. Join the Patreon or the YouTube membership. You get these a lot earlier. I record these in bulk sometimes, and so I just kind of put them up whenever I'm done with them. So you might be a week, month in advance of the main channel at that, or the YouTube channel at that point. So if you want to do that, that'd be great. I appreciate any support you did. Everything support you give me goes right back into my podcast. I do have another podcast on my main YouTube channel where I do more movie and TV talk, Star Wars, a lot of sci-fi, fantasy stuff over there. But if you can't do any of that, I get it. You can help me other ways. Like I said, share, like, subscribe, comment. Leave me comments. Tell me what you think in the comments. What did you like the single version better? Are you much more of a get to the point kind of person? Maybe I totally get it. But tell me what. Tell me what you think. All right, that'll do it. Again, like I said, we will see you next week out of my country going to. I hope the good times are now for you, or at least they will be soon enough. But all right, guys, take care. Bye.